Canada and the United States are caught in a growing diplomatic storm, with tensions reaching new heights. At the center of the controversy is a massive $13 billion deal for F-35 fighter jets, a purchase that Canada is now considering canceling altogether. This unexpected move has thrown everything into chaos. But is Canada truly walking away from the agreement, or is this a strategic bargaining move in a larger trade dispute? The situation began with economic pressures from Washington. The U.S. has imposed tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum, added extra taxes on agricultural goods, and tightened trade policies. In response, Ottawa appears to be pushing back hard, not only by reconsidering the F-35 purchase, but also by re-evaluating its military alliance with its powerful neighbor. The stakes are high, and key Canadian leaders are speaking out. Prime Minister Mark Carney and Defence Minister Bill Blair have suggested a major shift in policy. But what does that mean? Could Canada turn to Europe for its next-generation fighter jets, instead of relying on American-made aircraft? This debate is about more than just planes. It's about power, leverage, and Canada's long-term strategy. For nearly 2 years, tensions between the two countries have been escalating, largely due to U.S. trade policies. The previous Trump administration had already imposed strict tariffs on Canada's automotive and steel industries, leading to heated debates in Ottawa. These disputes have left Canada questioning whether it should be so dependent on a single supplier. That question has become even more pressing as the U.S. continues to apply pressure, warning that if Canada does not adjust certain trade quotas, key agreements could be renegotiated. Now, the fallout is unfolding in real time. Canada's making waves with a decision that could reshape its military future. The government is now seriously considering walking away from its long-standing deal to buy American F-35 fighter jets. What is driving this sudden change? It all comes down to trust, or a lack of it. In a revealing interview on March 12th, Prime Minister Mark Carney was direct. Canada must realize it can't rely on the U.S. for everything. Maybe it's time to rethink the F-35 project. EQ. Remarks raised concerns, and when Defense Minister Bill Blair echoed the sentiment, the big question in Ottawa became, is the F-35 deal about to collapse? The timing is noteworthy. On March 14th, just hours after being reappointed to his role, Blair addressed the press on Parliament Hill, confirming that Canada is actively exploring other options. The country is now in talks with global aircraft manufacturers, signaling that it may move away from American jets entirely. All eyes are now on Europe. Some defense analysts suggest that Canada may consider alternatives such as the Eurofighter, Typhoon or France's Dassault Rafale, both of which were previously evaluated. In the early 2000s and 2010s, Canada debated these options, but ultimately chose the F-35 due to its deep integration with the U.S. military. However, times have changed. Tensions between Washington and Ottawa have led Canadian officials to reconsider their reliance on a single supplier. Instead of depending solely on the U.S., Canada is exploring new partnerships, which could lead to a major shift in its defense strategy. Canada finds itself in a difficult position. Its close proximity to the United States has made American military technology the natural choice. From spare parts to maintenance, working with the U.S. has always been the easier option. But now, things are changing. For months, Canadian leaders have pushed back against the idea that they have no alternatives. Yes, the U.S. is our biggest trading partner, they have told reporters. But that doesn't mean we have to agree to everything they say. And European defense companies are paying attention. Aircraft manufacturers across the Atlantic are making their case. The Eurofighter Typhoon team highlights the jet's versatility and affordability, noting that while it may not be as stealthy as the F-35, it is easier to maintain and remains highly capable. Meanwhile, Dassault Aviation, the maker of the Rafale, argues that its aircraft can withstand Canada's harsh winters with ease. Of course, the F-35 is no ordinary fighter jet. It is one of the most advanced in the world. Equipped with stealth technology, it is already in service with major U.S. allies, including the United Kingdom, Australia, Italy, Norway, and Denmark. Canada initially wanted to be part of this elite group, aiming for seamless integration with its allies. However, with diplomatic tensions rising, the country now faces a critical decision as it reassesses its commitment to the F-35 program. Military cooperation and shared logistics have long been key aspects of Canada's defense strategy. But with rising tensions, that plan is now uncertain. Many in Ottawa believe that ongoing trade disputes, tariffs, and years of diplomatic friction with Washington have made the U.S. a less reliable partner. Increasingly, voices are asking, why should we spend billions on American-made jets if Washington isn't treating us as a true ally? With influential figures like Prime Minister Mark Carney backing the idea of a shift toward Europe, the conversation is gaining momentum. The stakes are high, $13 billion and 88 aircraft. The plan was for Canada to receive its first F-35s by 2026, aiming to replace its aging CF-18 fleet by the early 2030s. However, if the deal collapses under U.S. pressure, Ottawa will need to find a new supplier quickly. That will not be easy. Scrapping an agreement of this scale would require starting over, conducting new evaluations, negotiating fresh contracts, and ensuring that any new fighter jet meets Canada's military needs. At the same time, a larger question looms. Does it really make sense for Canada to break away from its most powerful ally? Frustration is growing, and the pressure to act is stronger than ever. Canada's trade battle with the U.S. is escalating, and now a high-stakes defense deal has been caught in the crossfire. After Washington imposed new tariffs on Canadian dairy and steel, Ottawa retaliated, further straining relations between the two nations. As a result, what once seemed like a secure plan to purchase F-35 fighter jets is now in jeopardy. If Canada walks away from the deal, what are its other options? European manufacturers have already stepped in, offering alternatives. The Eurofighter Typhoon, developed by a partnership of the UK, Germany, Italy, and Spain, is a strong contender. France is pushing its Rafale fighter jet, while Sweden is promoting the Gripen as a cost-effective and reliable choice. However, none of these European jets match the F-35's stealth capabilities. The F-35 is a fifth-generation fighter, designed for advanced warfare, while the European alternatives are fourth or 4.5-generation models. Canada originally chose the F-35 because it represented a major leap forward in air combat technology. Still, politics and public opinion may ultimately play a bigger role than pure military specifications. On the morning of March 15th, Defense Minister Bill Blair hinted that Canada might rethink the deal, saying, "How we are treated by our trade and defense partners affects major decisions. We might need a Plan B." That same day, the foreign minister issued a warning, stating that if U.S. tariffs continue, Canada will seek alternatives in key strategic areas. The local media in Ottawa quickly picked up the story, with bold headlines, speculating that Canada was preparing to walk away from the F-35 deal. While no official decision has been made, the possibility of cancellation is very real. Meanwhile, reports from Washington indicate that the U.S. Department of Defense is closely monitoring the situation. According to leaked information, American officials are deeply concerned that Canada's withdrawal could harm relations between the two allies. Canada is a crucial partner in the F-35 program. We hope they won't walk away from such a significant decision, one Pentagon source was quoted as saying. But what would shifting to European aircraft actually mean for Canada? For decades, Ottawa has worked closely with Washington on defense, making American technology the backbone of its Air Force modernization plans. Now, the question is whether Canada will break from tradition and look across the Atlantic, or even invest in developing its own defense industry. Behind closed doors, European nations are eager to secure a deal. French officials are pushing the Rafale, while other European governments are lobbying for the Typhoon or the Gripen. The big unknown is how this decision will impact Canada's relationship with the US, and whether it could also affect transatlantic ties. Reports from Washington warn that if Canada walks away from the F-35 agreement, there could be consequences. Expect a harsh response, an American media outlet cautioned. But for Ottawa, this is about more than just buying planes. It is about rethinking Canada's entire defense and trade strategy. Behind the scenes, Canada has been steadily moving closer to Europe for years. There is increasing talk of strengthening free trade agreements with the European Union, deepening defense ties with the United Kingdom, and even co-developing weapons systems with France. Now, as tensions with the US grow, Canada faces a defining moment, one that could reshape its military and trade relationships for years to come.